In this video, now that we have our power-up spawning, I want to go ahead and get it to where we can construct the actual power-up from the data. So in our case, let's go ahead and make a property. And we want it to be replicated using, and we'll call it onRep underscore. Let's do a power-up data. So T object pointer of a U PDA power-up data. Let's go ahead and add our onRep for the power-up data. So now all we have to do is simply for declare, and I just realized it's not inheriting or doesn't have the include for the actor. So game framework actor.h, not sure why. And then once we have that, create the definition, go ahead and set up our get lifetime replicated props, because we want to go ahead and make a f do rep lifetime params dot b is push based, then do rep lifetime with params fast a power up. Then it was what was it, power up data, then params. So the same thing we've done a million times. So once that's out of the way, let's go ahead and make a new function, make it simple. Let's do a void set power up data. I'm going to take in a UPDA power up, and let's just call it data for the parameter. No, wrong type. Okay, so in here, yep, let's make it inline because that's clearly what I want every single time. So in here, this is only going to run server side, so we're going to set the power up data to equal data, then mark property dirty from name, class being a power up data being the value, then this being the object. Then we want to simply call onRep underscore power up data. Likewise, make sure we include net core pushModel.h in order to use this macro. So now that we have that, we are good to go. The only thing we really need to do is load this power up mesh bundle and the other bundles that we're going to have. And once those are finished, we can then go ahead and assign them to our power up mesh. So we need the U asset manager. So get. So we want to include that as well. So engine asset manager.h, and we want to load a primary asset. So we want our power up data. We want to grab the primary asset ID. Then we need the bundles to load. So in our case, we're only going to have visual that I can think of. We're going to have audio at some point as well. I'm just not 100% sure when. But then we need a delegate to call. So once it, has been finished. So let's see. I cannot remember. I don't think it took in any parameters. So f streamable delegate. Let's do a. I'm being blind. There it is. Bind weak lambda. So in our case, not sure why it's suggesting things to be quite like. Wait, I am doing something wrong here. Okay, so I initially was intending to do create weak lambda, not bind. So makes a little bit more sense. So in our case, takes in a user object and then the actual, well, I guess you could say lambda part. So I'm just going to pass in this and no parameters. So let's go ahead and once this fires off, we want to grab our, what did we call it? The power up mesh. Let's rename this actually to power up mesh component for the sake of clarity, like so. And we want to set static mesh. And we want to use the corresponding power up data, we want to use the powerup mesh.get. And that, I think, is it. So let's go ahead and compile. And in theory, this should allow us to spawn a powerup pretty much, I guess you could say, whenever. Okay, so we have some compiling issues in the world subsystem. So, okay, let's go ahead and forward declare the PDA powerup and try again. Okay, once that is done, let's go ahead and set up some testing. So, for starters, we're checking to see if a zombie is in play. We can simply, for now anyways, just remove it. So I'm going to cut, add a comment, and paste. And then for the percent chance of spawning, we can actually tweak that through the game mode. So that way there's 100% chance of, one actually spawning. We just need to make sure that we don't, spawn more than, I guess, however many data assets we define. So once we have that, we're going to have to go through, set up the material instance. I've already made a material and it should be a part of this project already. And basically kind of just get things rolling. So let's see, to begin, what was open? Oh, that. So we need to first off, go ahead and set up the corresponding data assets so we can set them in the game mode. So that's while we're at it, open up the game mode. So we have our zombie, barricade, and power up. And I want to set the chance of spawning per kill to 100. Next up, let's go to our data folder, data assets, make a new one called power-ups, and make a new data asset of the type PDA underscore powerup and call it DA underscore. Let's do max ammo, I guess. So once we have that, we can kind of start chugging through these. But we do need to register them with the asset manager first. So if we go to our project settings, asset manager, now here we have like our debris, swab weapons, that kind of stuff. We need to add another entry that is of our, power up, PDA power up, and call it PDA underscore power up. Then for directories, we're going to use the same directory for all of them. So we can copy. And as always, hits an assertion for whatever reason and paste. And we can also kind of narrow these down a little bit too by using their corresponding subfolders, but we don't have a whole lot, so it's not too big of a deal, but that is something you may or may not want to consider to maybe speed things up a little bit if you have a ton of these. So now we want to go ahead and I'll just plug in the max ammo. And then for the class, just use power up. Now let's also add a insta-kill. And we'll do one more. Let's just do the we'll do the nuke. All right, so those are our 3 data assets there. Let's go ahead and add 3 entries. So insta-kill, max ammo, and nuke. Okay, so we have them in our zombies game mode. Now, in theory, this should work. I want to make my spawn, I guess, somewhere on the outside to make it a little bit easier to test. So there we have one. Okay, definitely did not see as a spawn there. Okay, so we got a crash or an assertion. Let's see. Nope, still locked up. So I'm willing to bet we have that weird issue of, well, not really a weird issue, but we're stuck here for whatever reason, even though we technically shouldn't be. So what I'm curious on, let's do a UV log temp, warning text, spawning, or let's do spawned power up. And we'll just print out the name of the corresponding data asset. So let's actually do that right in here. So spawned power up. And print out power ups at index get name. And give that a try, because yeah, I'm just kind of curious. So maybe this does power up exist function needs another look. I'm not 100% sure, so we're just going to have to kind of more or less see. Okay, once we are back in the editor, we have them all there. Make sure our spawn point is correct. Try to find one. Okay, so spawned nuke. Yep, you are definitely there. But no mesh has been applied. So let's see. Oh, that's right. Probably helps when we actually give it the corresponding power up data. So let's pass in set power up data and pass in power ups at index. That explains quite a bit. Okay, once that's done, let's go ahead and give this another try. Well, that has collision. But we have our nuke. So let's see if, yep, we end up getting locked up again. So we have issues with our logic. I'm guessing it's just in here. So we're going to have to write some sort of test, but I at least know that the stuff we have is working, and we do have an issue with collision. So in our case, we want to pretty much set up some sort of configuration for said collision, because we're going to want to basically have it not collide with anything, but we want it to overlap with a specific collision, what do you call it? A specific, I guess you could say like collision type, which was our player pawn. So if it overlaps with the player pawn, we want it to fire off the overlap event, in which case we want to, go and do stuff such as, activating the insta kill and blah, blah, blah. So we're probably going to have another component on here or on this base class, like honestly, I feel like a capsule shape would probably be pretty good. It's also going to be a little bit cheaper, but we would have a capsule, and then that capsule, whenever it is overlapped, is then going to fire off an overrideable function like on power up picked up, for example. And then all of our child classes are going to simply override just that function to start handling, their logic. So in the case of max ammo, it's going to give everyone max ammo while at the exact same time destroy itself. In the case of insta-kill, it's going to start up a timer that is going to go ahead, run, 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 and run. Once a certain amount of time has elapsed, it'll then, destroy itself. So it's stuff like that that we want to handle, kind of getting there in the base class. So that way all the subclasses are just very, very simple, and we can make blueprint children of it very easily as well. So with that out of the way, I will see you in the next video when we try to kind of polish up and fix that looping problem. If you like what I'm doing and you want to help support me, you can find a link to my Patreon in the description below, where you can also get early access to this entire series.